I mean, this has been the one story that's dominating the entire world. How would you characterize the American reaction to tariffs, the imposition of tariffs that happened at the end of last week?
So the reaction, at least when it comes to financial markets, has been violent, severe. We've had a sharp declines across equity markets in the United States, and that has expanded globally. And now the question for us in the United States is: does this start to show up in the real economy as well? Does this start to show up in the prices that people pay and in job losses in the economy?
And Trump used to care about the stock market. I mean, we're looking at the Asian markets, which are open on this Monday morning, and they're falling. They've fallen for three consecutive days. Presumably, there's concern about Wall Street as well over the continuing to fall.
There is indeed, and when I spoke to the president on Sunday night, he was defiant. He frankly seemed a bit impatient with all of the talk about the markets, and that has only contributed further to this sell-off because markets are realizing that he might not have their back.
So he used to care. I mean, you speak to the president. He used to care about markets, didn't he? Markets used to be his great pride of in his first administration, that the market kept going up and up.
Absolutely. And you've seen this complete reorientation of his own personal politics, where now he is much more concerned about how manufacturers, how people who work in factories, what they think about the economy and what they think about his performance. And he cares a lot more about that than he did about the financial markets.
But your point that and I think the general point that the thing about tariffs is they affect everyone in the end. If they affect industry, if they affect the price of goods, they will affect consumers. And these are the consumers he promised prices would start falling for. So at some point, this becomes a reckoning with them.
Well, that's right. And right now the test that we've seen has really been limited to financial markets. And the question is just when and how severe is the spillover into kind of the hard economic data. And when we start seeing it in labor markets in terms of the prices that people are paying at grocery stores, and then how that feeds back into how people think about the economy generally. And does that cause consumer confidence to tumble even more than it already has?
And will he wobble then? I mean, what was his tone like on Sunday night?
Extremely defiant. I asked the president on Sunday night about how he felt about how much pain the markets could take. He led on to no concern about the markets. He said that he couldn't predict where markets were going to go, and it was kind of beside the point in terms of the policy that he's pursuing. I also asked him about inflation. If people are going to be feeling this in their pocketbooks. And the president said he had absolutely no concern that there would be any inflation as a result of these policies. And so all of that just, and his advisors have also been extremely defiant with a few exceptions. We saw some tweets from Elon Musk that were suggesting that he is not necessarily fully behind this tariff policy. But broadly speaking, the White House has been full steam ahead despite the market's pushback.
Is the Musk-Trump bromance over? Do you think we can be as clear as that? Because there was a story last week that he's going to move away from advising the White House. The White House said, well, he was always going to do that at some point, and now he does seem to be anti-tariff. Does it feel like the break is coming?
It has become clear that Elon Musk is not going to be a primary advisor in this administration for the duration. And, for the first weekend in a long time, I didn't see a whole lot of Elon Musk this past weekend. I didn't see him in Mar-a-Lago with the president as he has been in prior weeks. And clearly, in terms of the messaging he was delivering, it was not one of alignment with the president's tariff policies.
And it's not clear who would regret the departure more, because presumably Musk has taken a beating for I mean, Tesla stocks have taken a beating. Tesla image has taken a beating because of his association with Trump.
Well, indeed, and you've started to see Wall Street analysts who were bulls, who had high expectations in terms of the Tesla stock, kind of reining in those expectations and bringing down their forecasts over the past week, as the Tesla brand has kind of taken a hit because of Elon Musk's involvement in politics, and that may be one reason that he takes a step back in the coming weeks.
Meanwhile, all the countries around the world are scrambling to deal with this issue of tariffs. The White House said this extraordinary figure: 50 countries have called for emergency talks over the imposition of tariffs. How could that possibly work in practice? 50 countries trying to talk to the president about his decision to impose these things.
Well, here's one of the key issues with this is the idea that 50 countries can simultaneously have extremely complicated negotiations on trade issues in over a short period of time while the market is tanking is simply is not realistic. The kinds of concerns that Trump has raised with these countries' behaviors, their tariff policies, their currency interventions, their tax levels, the unfair trade practices, these are the kinds of things that take negotiations that last years and years and years and sometimes never come to fulfillment. So the idea that 50 countries can overnight come to some kind of a comprehensive deal that answers the problems that Trump has put forward, it simply isn't realistic. What we might see more of is some of the bigger countries striking interim arrangements, a deal on one or two things that allows Trump to say, okay, maybe we can put a pause on this, or maybe we can delay implementation. But there's just so many questions about what kind of deal would satisfy Trump, and what kind of deal would be enough for him to say he's seen enough.
Would you count Britain as one of those big countries?
Well, so the way that Trump frames it, the United Kingdom, he said, is relatively happy with where they've ended up in this, because they haven't been hit with very high tariffs the way that some of these other European countries or Asian countries have, and so I don't think there will be a very strong desire by the Trump administration to alter the UK tariffs very quickly, just because there's so many bigger problems that they have, and China seems to be Trump's focus right now.
And just before you go, have you ever seen anything like this in your experience of covering the White House?
I have not. I have not. I have not seen a president that was this unrestrained when it came to the opinion of financial markets.
No, and we'll see whether he can. Some people think you can never fight the markets. We'll see if Donald Trump is ever managing to do that. Great to speak to you, Trevor. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.